Now we would be having the question and answer session. To derive more benefit for all of those present here, in the limited time that we have available, we would like the following rules to be observed. Your questions asked should be on the topic of the day, Quran and modern science, conflict or conciliation only. Questions not relevant to the topic will not be entertained. Kindly state your questions briefly and to the point. This is question answer time and not lecture time. Only one question at a time will be permitted. For your second question, you would have to go behind the row and await your second chance. We have 3 mics provided on the ground, 2 on my sides, right side 1, left side 1. These are for the gents, and we have 1 behind in the center in the ladies section for the ladies. I am told there are people watching this program in the Alma Latifi hall, which is full, on the video screen. I would request those brothers, if they have any questions, to kindly come down in the ground. The volunteers present at your end would assist you in it. We will allow only 1 question on each of the mics in clockwise rotation. First the ladies, second the gent on my right, third the gent on my left, and so on in clockwise manner. Written questions on papers or slips which are available from our volunteers in the aisles would be given secondary preference after the open questions on the mics are answered by Dr. Zakir. In the interest of having a less time wasting, a more educative and an interesting question and answer session, our decision to allow or disallow irrelevant questions will be final. In the interest of eliciting a proper and clear answer from the speaker, kindly state your name and profession before putting forward your question so his answer can be more appropriate to your understanding. May we have the first question from the ladies section.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Kausar Sheikh, a product of Darul Quran, Kuwait. Presently, I am teaching Arabic in Anushakti Nagar. My question is, it is mentioned in the Quran that one day in the sight of Allah is equal to 1,000 years. And in another place, it is mentioned that one day is equal to 50,000 years. Isn't the Quran contradicting itself? Please explain.
The sister asked a question that it's mentioned in the Quran, in certain place, that one day in the sight of Allah is equal to 1,000 years, and somewhere else is mentioned that one day in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is equal to 50,000 years. Isn't this a contradiction? What the sister was referring to is the verse of the Holy Quran from Surah Al-Hajj, chapter 22, verse number 47, as well as Surah Sajda, chapter 32, verse number 5, which does say that one day in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is equal to 1,000 years. And in Surah Marij, chapter 70, verse number 4, it says that one day in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is equal to 50,000 years of your reckoning. Doesn't it seem to be a contradiction? Sister, what these verses in the Holy Quran are referring to, it is giving an indication that time in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is incomparable to the earthly time. The earthly time, whether it's 1,000 years, or whether it's 50,000 years, or whether it's thousands of years, it's somewhat equal to one day in the sight of Allah, or maybe 1 second in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just giving you a reference that time in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is incomparable to the earthly time. But even if you want to take these verses literally, still there's an explanation for that. The Arabic word used in these verses